Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well. How about you?
Just fine. My first question is, who is Lily Chang Charlton?
Okay. So I am, well, in addition to being the Democratic candidate who's running for State House in the newly redrawn District 80, I am also, to many people, I am first and foremost a wife and a mother of 2 children. My older child is in college, and my younger one, he's going to turn 18 in 2 months. He is actually severely autistic, which is why I am a disability advocate. And in the community, I'm also a proven disability advocate, a community organizer, and a change maker who has led the movement that resulted in a landmark education case for Greater Grand Rapids.
Okay. What makes you running for office now?
Yes, I think I can bring major, I think I can dedicate all of my skills and my energy and my experience to actually create real changes. Because I have a track record for doing that, and that's very unusual in the political world for candidates.
In that sense, what are the most critical issues that the legislator face today? The Michigan legislator face today?
Okay. Well, our society faces many challenges and problems. I mean, they range from social problems to racial problems, and they've been ongoing for many years, and sometimes they've been heightened in terms of racial problems, racial injustice. And, there's also economic challenges, there's environmental challenges, and there's a lot of problems in our society. And I feel like that is something that we, as candidates, as officials, should listen to people's problems and society's problems in order to solve these problems.
What do you think that we had to do to establish gender equality?
Well, I think I think electing real advocates, and especially women advocates who are women, and if they're proven advocates, even better. But we need to ensure that there's highly qualified women advocates who have a heart for women's issues at the table, at that leadership table where decisions are being made, and that has not existed here in Greater Grand Rapids.
Do you think there is a balance in terms of representation of the community in the Michigan Congress?
Yeah, I think we do need better representation. We need to ensure that there's a lot more women, as well as people of color, in leadership positions to create a much more balanced voice in our state legislature.
There is an issue that is really getting debate today in the American society, basically in Michigan. It is about the armed position. What are you position about armed in hand of civilians?
Oh, you mean military arms?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say that no matter which party anyone belongs to, that we all believe in the Constitution. We believe in the democracy that was created by the Constitution. we also all, if we believe in the Constitution, also firmly believe in the Second Amendment. So I am in support of the Second Amendment. As far as bringing in common sense gun laws, that is also important.
Yes, because there is an issue really more than the fact that the people got the right to bear arms. The issue is everybody can have a right to get an arm, because this is one issue that is very important, because lately we have seen so many people who are not qualified to get arms. And this is my point. So what is your position regarding to that
Right.
issues? Yeah.
Yeah, and I am a firm believer in common sense gun laws, especially since I am a disability advocate, and also part of being a disability advocate is being a mental health advocate. So I am very strongly in favor of common sense gun laws that have an understanding of mental health and include it in those laws.
Yes, because one thing is that people are critical about the position of so many people regarding to who you have to sell armor. You have to take in account that you have to have some rule that it's not like you can buy an armor like you buy a plantain. And then this is my position is, what are your position in this issue, in that particular issue?
Okay, sorry, I got very distracted.
Okay.
I will, silence that. I apologize.
That's okay.
So you were saying again that are we specifically talking about arms?
Yeah. Yes, no, the issue again is, can we sell armor to any person who go to the store and then, you buy a clothes, nobody had to know if your background. But in terms of the arms, this is the critical issue that they are selling armor to anybody.
And that's unfortunate. You should qualify to be able to have an arm, because a military weapon especially, you have to be qualified to drive a car, because a car is considered a dangerous vehicle, and you have to be trained and go through driver's education and pass a test to have a driver's license. The same with a dangerous equipment such as a military weapon. You also should be qualified. There should be common sense gun laws that are based upon those needs for qualification, and that include mental health and training and age, and those factors. And we can look at the problems that exist. We had one not too long ago on the other side of the state in East Michigan. So we want to make sure that you look at the problems and we try to solve it accordingly.
Okay. There is an issue very important for the Hispanic community, and it is providing driver licenses to migrants, undocumented migrants. Do you agree with these things? It's
sorry.
providing license to undocumented migrants.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. I am a strong supporter of licenses for all. It's just, I think, horrific that it was ever taken away in 2008 from people who need driver's licenses to drive to work or to drive their children to school. How do you function in a society such as ours, especially in West Michigan, when we don't have more reliable transportation, such as a subway system, which the big cities have? We don't have that. And even if we did, people in our modern society need a driver license to function in society.
What do you think is the role of immigrant in this country? Because if you see, like, say, a couple of years, we have been throwing so many things negative of immigration. What do you point about immigrants in this country?
Well, what I think about immigrants in this country is that immigration and diversity in our melting pot made our country great. I am actually a zero-generation immigrant because I was born in Taiwan, and I came to this country with my parents when I was a toddler. So I'm an immigrant. I'm a child of immigrants, and I love this country, and I think we all. It is our diversity that makes our society great.
In the same way that the last, let's say, 5 years, people are really, some group are pushing to not mention minorities, or the role of minorities in the history of in the teaching of the American history. What do you think about that?
I think truth and science is very, very important, and truth and history is important, and it should not be from only one lens. It should be from every lens. And we're all part of the fabric of our society, and we're part of the history of this country. And so, I disagree with labels. It's not about labels. It's about teaching truth in history. And learning history is what makes us great as well. We are successful problem solvers when we understand history, the complete and truthful history. Because if we don't understand history with all its truth, then we will repeat the problems of the past.
Yeah, as you see, being yourself Asian American, lately we have seen too so many attacks in some places, and yes, I think it's because of what we see in the media sometimes. So many lies in terms of the role of immigrant in this society.
Yeah, and that is sad. I mean, we should be a society that loves all people and that tries to respect people and get to know people who are different. That is very important in our society. We want to be a loving society, not a hateful society. And when it comes to anything violent or discriminatory or prejudice, and much less injustice, I mean, as a woman, immigrant, and a woman of color, an Asian woman who is a proven advocate, I will do everything in my power to protect all people from any discrimination.
There is another issue that implies, let's say, minorities is some political group that are pushing to reform the voting process. What do you think about that?
Well, I think the groups that are trying to push for reforming voting, from what I hear, that's a euphemism. They are not pushing to reform it in a good way. They are, I think, pushing it to make it less accessible to all people, who, especially to all citizens who are in. It is their right to be able to vote. Our democracy is based on every citizen being able to vote. Now, if you have laws that restrict citizens voting, then that's a problem. We want all citizens to be able to vote because that is what our democracy is built upon.
What do you think about, and this is a very important issue too, that we can do about to improve our education system?
Yes. Well, first of all, I am for a high quality education for all people. I understand that in Michigan we have more charter schools than any other state in the country. And so, that is an important acknowledgement of our reality today. I am also a product of public education. I've been through public education my whole life. And I even went to a college, the University of California at Berkeley, which was a public college. So I am very strong advocate and for public education and for a high quality education for all children, no matter which school they attend. As far as public education, I know they have had some struggles. As for the solution, I think our state needs to make the public education, all education, a priority for children and students. And so when people ask me, well, how do we balance the budget? We will find a way to ensure that public education is funded, especially in a way that allows all students to succeed.
There is a topic very high now, is abortion. What is your position about abortion?
Yes, so I think abortion is something that's based on education, first of all. I believe in a woman's right to choose. And I think I think what we want to be careful of is to make sure that women either don't end up in back rooms with a coat hanger trying to get abortions. I also believe that as much as we try to change the laws on abortion, that those who are wealthy will always have, those who are wealthy and privileged will continue to have abortions. And the only people who would be highly affected, the most highly affected population, would be those who are poor or part of the working families.
This changed in Michigan because it was an election that really put away what they call gerrymandering. The fact that the people who control the legislature divide the district. What is your position about the issue? Because even though we overcome that situation, still there are people who are even rejecting the decision of the people regarding to that issue. What is your position about that issue?
I am for a much more fair district, and I am grateful that my district, being part of Greater Grand Rapids, as well as many areas of Greater Grand Rapids, now have a more competitive chance to be represented by the best candidate of either party. And that was not the case 2 years ago. I ran in a highly gerrymandered district. It was gerrymandered red, and it happened to be in 2 different counties. Kent County and Allegan County. And that's a sign of gerrymandering when you have to take a state house district and put in 2 counties. And nonetheless, I was the first Democrat in 27 years to actually flip the Kent County portion of my district, which was a huge size and the size of a state house district now.
There is an issue too that have been debated in the last, say, 10 or 20 years in this country, is how unions, worker unions, have been really put more obstacle to develop unions in some industry. What is your position about unions?
Yeah, well, I'm a firm believer that unions did create a middle class here in the United States. So in that way, unions did make our country great. Unions ensure not just a better minimum wage, which has not changed despite inflation over the decades, but unions also ensured safe working conditions, because before there were unions, there were children who were working in the factories and and many other working conditions that are important.
Yes, because there is so many obstacles in this country to create a union. And then, really, 70 years ago, union was an instrument where, as you said, that create middle class. But
Yes.
we have in the last, according to the data, only 6% of the working in the U.S. are in unions. I think this is something really, what's going on.
Yeah, and that is unfortunate, because right now our society has many working poor. So the working families are essentially working poor now. And our middle class has, for the most part, severely been deteriorating as a result. And it was unions that made the middle class strong. And having people in the unions gave the unions that ability to elevate all workers.
Another issue that is very really to have been causing a lot of debate in this country is the health issue. What is your position about the health issue, basically in the state?
Yes, I am a believer in universal health care. So that would be the goal. And obviously, in terms of we want to work together. We want to make sure that I love negotiating. I love making sure that people's voice is heard, everyone's voice is heard, and that we come together and create a solution that most people in society are happy with. I think most people in society, from the data, appears to be that the majority is for some form of universal health care, which makes absolute sense since we have been in a COVID pandemic for the last 2 decades. So health care is very important for everyone.
Yes, it's basically one thing that is debate in this issue is the fact that the healthcare is basically in the hands of private business. And then some people say, how so important right of the people like is health is being really put in the private business. And this is the reason why so many people struggle to get care from those institutions.
Yeah, so that is huge. That people do need care, and they shouldn't have to refinance their mortgage or lose all their savings just to pay for medical care. that is a huge problem, and we need to find a way to fix that.
Well, this will be my last question, even though there are so many issues, is regarding to the environment. What do you think that we have to do in order to face the challenge of the environment? Because people don't realize that this is a really important issue today, that we got so many catastrophe and issues regarding how we can face the climate change today. What is your position about?
Yeah, we need to really seriously understand climate change to be able to create the solutions that we need. We need to also take into account the problems that have existed that are relating to the environment. In addition, we have seen what has happened in Kalamazoo when there's an oil spill, and how many decades it's taken to even get it under control. And we have similar pipeline issues currently in Michigan. And right now, one of our greatest resources is our Great Lakes. And we do not want to risk our amazing Great Lakes and put it at risk through a pipeline that may be deteriorating and is too old.
Lily, we thank you for coming, and if you got something to say to conclude this interview.
So I hope that everyone will join me. I'm Lily Chang Charlton, and for State Representative in Michigan House District 80. Find me at my website, which we will list somewhere. And we are a grassroots campaign for the people. And I hope that all people will join me, because we are a campaign for the people, by the people, and we want to share solutions for the people. And that's what's really important, to support a grassroots candidate and an authentic candidate for the people. And this is how we create changes, and this is how we create solutions for our district and our state of Michigan.
Okay. Thank you, Lily, again for coming, and we hope to see you after the primary election.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.